Good luck.
Merhaba arkadaşlar, hepiniz IEFT Talks webinarlarına hoş geldiniz. Bugün Kanada'nın lider Politeknik Üniversitesi The Northern Alberta Institute of Technology'de eğitimi Eden'dan dinliyor olacağız. Lütfen sorularınızı questions kısmından sormayı unutmayın. Yes, Eden, the stage is yours now.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So hi, everybody. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come today. My name is Eden, and I'm an international recruitment specialist here at the Northern Alberta Institute of Technology. So I'm currently talking to you from Edmonton, which is where we're located. It's morning for us right now. I know it's kind of afternoon, evening for you. So again, thank you so much for being here. As we start, I'm actually going to share a video, and let me do that right now. And we'll just start up with that.
They say, if you travel far enough, you meet yourself. I wondered if this applied to a 23-year-old engineering student from India studying abroad. I could feel it in that very first breath of crisp Canadian air. I had entered a new world. One full of new discoveries waiting to be made. I still remember seeing campus for the first time. I felt excited for my first semester, for what was to come next for me. Meeting so many people from different countries and hearing about their journeys was so much fun. I dove right in and worked hard those first days. My Bachelor of Technology classes were fascinating. They were industry-oriented and hands-on. I felt like I was gaining insight into what life was really like in the field. And I made friends quickly. Good friends, the kind you can do anything with. Any Canadian thing. But this was life and not a dream. Of course, challenges hit me. There were times I felt like maybe the whole experience was too big for me. I had planned to find a job, but it was tough to land one. My budget became tight. I missed my mom and dad, and my fun classes became my hard classes. Did I travel literally across the world to fail? I remembered something my parents used to tell me. A person who works hard has nothing to fear. So I doubled my efforts and found a job. My instructors challenged me to dig deep and look at things in a new way. To appreciate that engineering is most useful to us when it coexists with nature. I thought about my reasons for coming to Canada, why I went in a different direction than my friends back home. We were all asking the same questions, but I wanted different answers. Sustainable answers for the future of engineering. For all of our futures.
Okay. All right. Great. So that was actually a video that was shot, obviously, pre-pandemic. And that was one of our students from India. He was a peer mentor, and then he actually graduated, I believe, last year in the middle of the pandemic. But yeah, I hope that that was actually kind of inspiring for you and maybe give you a little bit of a glimpse of what it would be like when you're studying abroad, because it's actually a very long journey. And you're at the beginning of your journey right now doing a lot of research, which is really great. But I hope that I kind of give you a bit of understanding of what it's actually like when you start. So again, my name is Eden, and I'm from the Northern Alberta Institute of Technology. I just wanted to quickly thank IEFT for having us and organizing this entire event so you can learn a little bit more about NATE. Just some very, very quick housekeeping items before we start. You can see that there's a chat box. I see that some of you have already been typing in there, so thank you for that. I'm currently not able to see everything, so I will actually answer the questions at the end of the presentation. But feel free, as I'm going through things, to put things in there. So there might be questions that come up as I'm talking. So yeah, just type your questions and I'll answer them at the end. And so I'll be very happy to give you also a copy of the presentation at the end of the webinar. So you don't have to feel like you have to write things down or copy things. So just kind of relax and enjoy the presentation. So yeah, just very briefly about myself before we dive right in. I am actually working at NATE, the Northern Alberta Institute of Technology, as an international recruiter. So before the pandemic, what it means that I will be traveling to different countries, to meet with students like you guys overseas. I provide information about NATE, about what it's like to study abroad in Canada. And actually, before I started this job, I've been doing this for about over 3 years. Before this, I was an international student advisor in post-secondary for almost 7 years. So I work with students before, after they arrive in Canada. And I, kind of work them through stuff like immigration or adaptation issues, all that kind of different things that international students need support in. And so I know really well what it's like after you come to Canada as well. So generally, when I give my presentations and I talk about different things, I do like to kind of give you both sides, right? So you can manage your expectations before you come here. I really hope that today's webinar will be helpful for you because we'll be exploring a lot of different factors that you should be considering when you're looking for a place to study overseas. So here's our agenda for this morning. We'll first be talking about Canada and the province of Alberta, and then I'll talk about the city of Edmonton, and then dive into NATE and our programs and how to apply to NATE. So you'll notice that I'm spending half of this webinar talking to you about just the location and some other things outside of NATE. And the reason for that is, in addition to looking for the school and the program that is the right fit for you, it's also important to look at, where you'll be living, because that's where you'll be spending your life for the next couple of years, right? So these things can really affect the quality and enjoyment of your time abroad. So perhaps you already know some of these things. If you do, that's awesome. If you don't, then maybe it'll just be kind of fun facts for you to know. Either way, I hope there'll be very helpful information that you can use to make your decision to study abroad. So first off, where we're located, NATE is in Edmonton in Alberta. So this is the province of Alberta. Edmonton is the city. If you're flying here from Istanbul, you're looking at approximately 14 hours of flight time. And this is not including transit time, right? So usually if you're flying from Istanbul, you'd be flying through the east side of Canada. So most people would be flying through Toronto or Montreal. Currently, because of COVID, we only have 4 ports of entry in Canada. So that will be Vancouver, Calgary, Toronto, and Montreal. So obviously, if you're coming from the east side, it would be Toronto and Montreal. From Toronto, we're about 4 hours away for flights. So generally, when people think about coming to Canada and living in Canada, they imagine that we look something like this, right? That this is exactly like the kind of space that we're living in. These are the pictures that you see online and like in videos and such. They think that it's full of snow, that we have, moose or like polar bears. And that's not true. That's not all year round. Actually, right now we are still at the end of winter, and this does not look like my outside right now. We actually have no snow currently. We do have 4 different seasons. People might also think that everybody in Canada looks like this, right? I'm sure you guys know who he is. This is our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. And so they think that all Canadians are Caucasians, and that's not true either. Canada is known for multiculturalism and our openness to diversity. So we encourage everybody who comes from overseas to celebrate their cultural backgrounds and to share that with each other. So we have a lot of people from all over the world. And one of the biggest reasons why we have so much diversity is because we currently only have a population of 37 million. So you know that probably that Canada is one of the largest countries geographically in the world, but 37 million is a very small number. In comparison, Istanbul already has 15.4 million. So our entire population is, just a little bit over 2 times your Istanbul's population, right? So we actually have to get more people into the country. Last year, we invited over 300,000 people to become Canadian permanent residents. This is actually to offset our aging population and to meet our labor needs. And you might know this, but Canada is actually one of the few countries in the world that offers international students a post-graduation work permit after graduation. So you can stay and work after finishing your studies. Majority of NAIT's programs are eligible to study for the study permit and for your post-graduation work permit. So our programs are legit and are accredited. And in 2018, we invited 54,000 international students to become permanent residents. Reason for this is we recognize that international students, they make excellent candidates for permanent residency because you've already adapted to the lifestyle in Canada and you're more likely to succeed and contribute to our society. So we do really want international students to come and stay, actually. Now, moving to the province of Alberta, there are just so many fun facts about Alberta that most people don't know because we're kind of not as popular and famous as our counterparts. So you have Vancouver in British Columbia, and then you have Ontario and Quebec, right? Montreal and Toronto. And Alberta is more on the west side of Canada, as you can see here. We're made out of many different provinces, and for us, we sit actually on the 3rd largest oil reserve in the world for this province. Because of that, we're the only province in all of Canada that does not charge a provincial sales tax. So in Canada, everybody charges a 5% federal sales tax on everything that you buy. And in all the other provinces, you actually have to pay an additional provincial sales tax. It's different for every province, but in Alberta, you don't pay any. So for example, if you have to buy a textbook for $100, in Vancouver, you're paying $112. So $5 for federal sales tax, and then the additional $7 for provincial. In Toronto, you're paying $113 for the same book. In Alberta, you only pay $105. So for everything that you're buying in Alberta, you actually spend a little bit less than everywhere else for the same thing. So sometimes people close to the borders, they might even travel into our province just to buy things because it's a little bit cheaper. In terms of income taxes, you can also see here that Alberta charges the least amount of income tax compared to all the other provinces. I'm not going to go into too much details. If you will have an annual income of 100,000, which is a lot of, it's a pretty high income. In Alberta, you have to pay $17,573 in total for your taxes to the government. But if you were to live in Newfoundland, you pay $24,402. So just by living in Alberta versus this province, you actually pay $7,000 less in taxes. That can really add up. So if you think about how much you're giving to the government, you take home less, right? If you were to live in a place that you have to pay more taxes. So in Alberta, you do save a bit of money just from taxes alone. Here I actually have for you something called the Alberta Outlook that is taken from the Alberta Occupation Outlook issued by the government of Alberta, the labor and immigration sector. So this is a report that they had issued in 2019 to 2028, kind of predicting the amount of work and jobs available in Alberta. So just to explain a little bit what this means. They predicted every year from 2019 to 2028, the number of job openings that will be available and the number of job seekers that are in the province. So job openings come from 2 different sources. Why would there be more jobs? Number one, because there is expansion demand. Expansion demand refers to like the economy growing or the industry booming. So there's just developing. So there's more expansion in the industry. Replacement demand comes from retirements, maybe people moving out of the province, or deaths, unfortunately. And so those are the two main reasons why there will be more job openings in an area. And so again, you probably know this, but there is a large number of baby boomers, and there will be a large number of them retiring soon. So that's actually where a lot of that number is coming from, is the replacement demand. So if you look at both of that, it actually includes, it leads to quite a high number of job openings in Alberta in the upcoming years. The job seekers will be the lower number here. And so the cumulative imbalance is not just like a job opening minus a job seeker kind of number, because there are people who will quit their jobs and be looking for a job. So then they are counted twice. So it's a imbalance, there is cumulative. So in any case, you can see here in 2023 to 2024, even later, there will be quite a surge. So if you are looking to study in the future, you know, in Alberta, this is approximately when you'll be graduating, because majority of NAITS programs are 2 years long. So if you were to start in 2021 this year, you'll finish in 2023 or maybe 2024. And so your outlook actually is quite good, because there are more job openings than there are job seekers. So it will just be a really great time, I would say, to come to Alberta. This is taken from the same report, and it just kind of breaks it down a little bit more into different kinds of job openings, the different sectors that we have in Alberta. You can see here, we don't only have oil and gas, even though we sit on a lot of oil and gas, we have a lot of different areas and industries in Alberta. And again, the replacement demand, as you can see here, is quite large for certain areas. So if you are thinking of going into certain sectors, this could be something that could be interesting for you. So this information is available to you online through the Government of Alberta website. So I do suggest that you kind of go there and take a look, read it out for yourself, and get a sense of the industry that you'd be interested in going into, what the outlook for you would be. This is also taken again from the Government of Alberta website, and it is the wage overview for different sectors again. And so you know, a lot of the students that come through to Canada to NAIT, I mean, oftentimes you are looking further ahead into looking for a job after you graduate. It's, can this field get me a job when I finish? And what would that outlook be like? So these are the wages that you can expect for each of the different industry. And it is from the website from the Government of Alberta, so you know that it is a legit website. You can just kind of take a look and see how much you might approximately be making. So it wouldn't be biased in any way. So for example, if you are to go into construction in Edmonton, you're expecting about $34.59 per hour, which is again quite a high amount of minimum of wages actually. So one last thing that is really great about Alberta is we do have free healthcare insurance. So this is apparently not actually like available to everybody in every province, but in Alberta, as long as you live in Alberta as a student or as a worker, or if you were to bring your family, you actually qualify for free healthcare. And when you graduate, you will continue to have free healthcare. I won't go into details what you get, but it's quite comprehensive. Even if you had to go to a hospital and take, you know, MRI, or you have to take blood work test, it is covered for you. What is not covered will be prescription medication, but that is covered in NAIT's Student Association's extensive healthcare coverage. So you are quite well protected, and you don't have to pay a lot more money. So if you think about all these other factors about Alberta itself, it actually makes the province a really affordable place to live in, because you pay less in taxes, but you also make quite a bit of money, and there will be a surge in the labor force. So I'll talk a little bit more about the minimum wages as well, but Alberta has one of the highest minimum wages in all of Canada too. So moving into Edmonton, the capital city of Alberta, our population here is only at 1.3 million. So it does not seem very large, but the projection is to continue to grow by 65,000 per year for the next 15 years. I personally have been living here for almost 20 years now, and I have really seen this city grow. There's been just a lot of construction around the periphery of the city. It's just been growing more and more. The population density is only at 123 people per square kilometer. It's not very populated in terms of being very squished. You know, you don't have people like crowding all around you. So it is kind of nice. The average age is at 35, and that's one of the youngest cities in Canada. Having such a young city, it kind of also gives you an idea that there are young people moving into the city, right? There are young families that are moving here because there are opportunities in Edmonton. We do have 4 distinct seasons. The average winter temperature is at -10. I know that might scare a lot of you right off the bat right now. It's not so bad. Actually, currently, like I said, we are still in winter, but at the tail end of winter. This week it's hovering around 5 degrees, 6 degrees. I would say we do get really, really cold days, maybe for a couple of days in the whole year. And the really cold days would be as cold as -40. But at the same time, we actually have a lot of amenities in the city to keep you warm. So our bus systems are heated. We have all our buildings are heated. We have what we call pedways that connect buildings to buildings that are heated. And so as long as you bundle up, what we have here is a dry cold, which also helps so it's not like chilling to the bones. So it is actually very bearable, but your first year just kind of expect it to be kind of cold, especially when you're getting used to it. But as you get used to the temperature and all that here, the rest of the seasons are also really nice. Even in our summertime, we go up to over 30 degrees. So it is a very nice summer, which you can see here in this photo. People would just be, you know, in the waters and just kind of playing around there. The city of Edmonton is also known as Canada's festival cities. The culture here is that we're very vibrant. We do a lot of things outside. Even in the wintertime, we continue to host festivals and we do things outside. Obviously, right now with the pandemic, it's been kind of hard for us because we haven't been able to. Currently, we are in still a lockdown for the province, and so we have not been able to do as much things outside. We are also known to be a business and political hub, politically because we are the capital city of the province, and businesses because we actually have a very strong sense of entrepreneurship. There's a lot of small businesses in this city. There's a lot of support to start your own business. In terms of immigration, we actually, in Alberta, just created a new stream that is the provincial nominee program, where they would nominate entrepreneurs to become permanent residents too. So there are a lot of avenues for people to start their own businesses. Also a high-tech hub and home of the National Institute of Nanotechnology here in Edmonton. Now, a lot of students are also wondering about the living cost, right? Because as you are planning out your finances, what is it going to be like when you're living here? I have it kind of put out for you, your rent, food and other for 1 person, and on this side will be for 2 people, approximately, if you come as a couple, what it will cost for you. So per month, for $600, you're looking at a rent for maybe about a bachelor suite. And then you have food and then other, you know, depending on how much you eat and spend, you're looking at about 1,100 per person, for a person, which is about 6,360 Turkish lira for 1 month. For 2 people, you save a little bit. It's not exactly double, and so you can look at a 1-room apartment for about $1,000 in Edmonton. The living cost for rent in Edmonton is way cheaper than a lot of the bigger cities. And I know compared to Toronto, we are about 40% less in terms of rent for the same space. So you do save a lot of money in living cost. As an international student, you do have the potential to work part-time as well. So at $15 per hour, which is the minimum wage in Alberta, as I said, is one of the highest minimum wages in all of Canada. You get to work up to 20 hours a week for 4 weeks for a month. So you're looking at earning about 1,200 Canadian per month. Again, about 6,940 Turkish lira per month to help supplement things. So I would say here's approximately 30 weeks in a year because that's the amount of time you'll be studying. So this 20-hour limit is for students when they are studying, so during school time. But during scheduled breaks, which is your summer and your winter, you actually get unlimited hours. You can work as much as you would like, and that can really help supplement your living cost. However, if you're in ESL or academic upgrading, you can only work on campus, but there are a lot of jobs available for you on campus as well. So this kind of maps it out a little bit nicely for you in terms of what I was just mentioning. So you, as an international student at NAIT, generally most of our programs would be 2 years. So you're looking at approximately 4 semesters in total. If you are to start in September, your first semester will be till December, you will get a 3-week winter break. During that time, you can work full-time if you would like, and we have an approximate earnings here. And then your next semester, you'll be going to school from January to April, working part-time again. And then you actually get a 4-month summer break. So you get to work full-time for 4 months. And then you get your 3rd semester, 4th semester, and then you graduate. So here we kind of put that together for per semester, which is 4 months, how much your approximate living cost would be and how much you might be able to earn part-time. So this is just to help you kind of get an idea of what it'll be like for your finances. But I always suggest to students before you arrive, before you come to Canada, that you actually have the funds to study for 1 year. You do have the funds and you're not just relying on working part-time. While it is very easy for you to get a job part-time, off campus, on campus, but sometimes things happen in life, right? You know, maybe sometimes you're not doing so well in school, so you actually can't afford the time to be working, or perhaps something happened and you're just physically not able to work. So you have to be mindful of these kind of things that might happen. And so having the funds available to you for at least your first year can really help alleviate that financial stress and burden as you are, you know, still adapting to the city here. So that's something that I highly recommend to students. Make sure you have the money before you come here. And then while you're in your first year, you can work and then save up for your second year. NAIT doesn't have scholarship for entrance scholarships for first year students, but in your second year, we also have a lot of options available to you, a lot of scholarships for our second year students. So your second year is generally a lot more safe, I would say, than your first year, where hopefully you do have the money already in hand for you. So kind of looking back at, you know, the post-graduation work permit, because as I was mentioning here, when you finish, you do have the option to apply for a post-graduation work permit. The way it works in Canada is that if you study in an accredited school like NAIT, for a program that's less than 8 months, you don't have a study post-graduation work permit. But if you study for 1 year, you get up to 1 year. If you study for 2 years or more, you get up to 3 years. So even if you were to study for 4 years as an undergrad, you still only get 3 years. So 2 years is the minimum amount of time you need to study to get the maximum amount of time that you can work in Canada. And as you might also know, you know, tuition costs a little bit more for international students. And so this can actually make it cheaper for you if you study for a little bit less. So if you study for 2 years, you maximize the amount of time. So why is this pretty important is, first of all, this post-graduation work permit is not extendable. You cannot, if you get a 1 year post-grad work permit, say I'm going to extend it. They will not give that to you. It is not available for extensions. You also are not able to finish 1 year, go back to school, study again, and get another one. It's only available to you once in your lifetime. So they will ask you, have you ever received one? If you have, they won't give it to you again. So it's important that you do this right the first time that you apply, okay? So now moving on into the education system in Canada and more about NAIT. So before we start talking just about NAIT, I just wanted to mention what's the difference between polytechnics and universities and colleges. This is a question a lot of students ask. Every education system in the world is different, so I can understand this can be a bit complicated. The way it works in Canada is when you finish high school, you have the option. You can even start working after high school in Canada and get a job quite easily. But if you wanted to do post-secondary, you can go to polytechnics, colleges, or universities. The level of education is the same. The quality of education is the same, and it is treated as such. So if you are applying for a job, They will not say, and look, oh, you graduated from a university versus you graduated from a polytechnic or a college, we will choose a university grad. They don't do that. Employers don't discriminate against either one of them. They will actually look at what we call Canadian work experience. So the more time or experience you have working in Canada, the higher chances they will hire you. So it is important that you still have a credential. Either you have a diploma or a degree. It is important that you have that, but it does not matter where you get it from, actually. But then it is important that you have the work credentials and some of the experience, which Nate will also provide for you when you are studying with us. We give you a lot of opportunities to build that up as an international student. So at a polytechnic, you have the option to graduate with a certificate, a diploma, or a degree. If you graduate from a degree that is a 4-year degree, you also are eligible to go into your master's, just like if you were to finish at a university. Okay, so the main difference in terms of studying for polytechnic versus colleges and university is the way that we teach. In universities, the focus is very much on academic research. So you will likely be, in this huge lecture hall, 400 people, one professor talking about, the studies that other people have done. Perhaps you'll be going to the library a lot and doing a lot of academic research on papers. You'll be writing a lot of papers. Whereas in a polytechnic, the focus is on applied research. So you'll be doing a lot of hands-on work. You'll be working on things that industry actually requires, solving those kind of problems. So it's very, very practical. And so this is the polytechnic education system for Nate, really, the things and the pillars that make up our education. So there are 4 pillars, which is technology-based education. All our programs are using a lot of technology. We have close industry partnerships, which I'll talk about more, applied research, and hands-on learning. So because of these pillars, our classes will be a 50% theory, 50% application. You're not only going to be learning one or the other. The theory will allow you to, be eligible for a master's when you graduate too, if you finish our degree. But the application will make things very much applied. So it will be very real. The things that you'll be doing in school will be exactly what it would be like in the field, in the industry. The programs are shorter, designed to kind of combine things so that you can be able to get out to the workforce quicker. Our class sizes are also smaller than the typical, so you won't be in a class with 400 people. Some of our classes might only be 20 to 30 people. And the reason for that is we actually work really closely with industry to see what the labor needs are. So if in the industry, they only need, say, 30 people in the upcoming year because there's only a labor need for an additional 30 people. We won't be graduating 100 students because the additional 70 will not be able to find a job. So we don't want to oversaturate the labor market. We make sure that we match this up really, really closely. We'll listen to our industry partners to what they need, and then we will match it. So because of all these things, we have a really high employer satisfaction rate of 98%. I've gone to career fairs at NATE, and I've talked to a lot of employers, just kind of enjoy working with our students because our students are ready to start as soon as they start work. And so that's a really high employer satisfaction rate, which means they will likely hire you when you graduate. Our current employment rate is 87%, and so that's a pretty good number as well. So in terms of applied research, what that means is that all our instructors need to come in with multiple years of industry experience. It is a requirement before they can get hired. So when they're talking and teaching you, they tell you exactly what you need in order to succeed in the field because they have the experience themselves. There is a lot of focus for your studies on presentations, research projects, and relevant work skills. You might notice, sometimes the things that you study in school, if they're not applicable to what you have at work,
Evet arkadaşlar, Eden internet bağlantısını tekrar bağlanana kadar biraz beklemenizi rica edeceğiz. Bu sırada sorularınız varsa lütfen questions kısmından yönlendirmeyi unutmayın.
They say, if you
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm just going to go back. Yeah. Thanks. Hi, I'm so sorry, everybody. My computer somehow just kicked me off and I wasn't able to get back on. So right now, I'm just going to go back to sharing my screen. And thank you for your patience and thank you for sticking around. Okay. All right. So hopefully you guys can see this. Thank you so much. So sorry again about that. Okay, so right now we're talking about NAIT. And here are just some fun facts about NAIT. We are founded in 1962, and we currently have 4 campuses. Though most of you will be coming to school on our main campus, we currently have over 40,000 students, and over 1,900 of them are international students, and from over 88 different countries that are currently enrolled. We are the 2nd largest polytechnic in Canada and the 3rd largest post-secondary in Alberta. Currently, right now, we are also ranked 3rd in Canada's top 50 research colleges in research income from partner organizations. So what that means is that a lot of different industry partners, they will give us some money and we will do research for them to kind of bolster the things that they are currently doing. This shows that we have really close industry connections, as I was talking about before. NAIT is also very easily accessible. So we are currently located just a little bit north of the downtown in Edmonton. So we're right in the middle of the city, and you can come to us through train or bus, and there are direct trains and buses to our campus. While we don't have our own residence, we do have a partnership residence at the University of Alberta and MacEwan University, which is really close. So you can just take the bus or the train. When I say train, it basically looks like this one here. There are also residences, which are basically apartments and houses all around NAIT, which you can find and stay at as well. In terms of the areas of studies that we have available, NAIT has over 120 different programs. Again, most of them are eligible for the study permit and the post-graduation work permit in Canada. And these are different areas of studies. Each of them have a different entrance requirement. And so I will just briefly talk a little bit about that later as well. I'm just going to highlight 4 different programs that are brand new. They're called trades programs at NAIT. And so these are the 4 that we just started actually a couple of weeks ago. So this is the Electrical Installations Diploma, the Advanced Plumbing Diploma, the Automotive Service Technology Diploma, and Advanced Welding Diploma. So these are for students who really enjoy working in an applied, sometimes more physical work environment, and you like to learn by trying rather than just a traditional classroom. After the 2 years, again, you get your post-graduation work permit. You can work in this industry if you would like. So for generally most of our programs, I have a few stats and facts for you. Just as an example, if you were to go into business administration and marketing, the tuition cost that you'll be expecting, this will be per year in Canadian dollars. So you're looking at about $17,700 for 1 year. And then your books and supplies for the year will be $875. So your program, again, will be a 2-year program. So it will be this times 2. And then here we actually usually will survey our graduates about 9 months after they graduate to see how many of them were employed and found a job and what's their median salary. So for business administration, 81% of them found a job within 9 months, and their starting salary was at $39,500 for the year. So if you really look at that, some of these programs for the 2-year program, you're actually making back most of that money in your first year salary. Just to give you a bit of a gauge, the average annual income for one person in Edmonton is $60,000. So you're looking at a very close starting salary for just the 2-year diploma program. If you're interested in exploring our programs, each of them are the information is on our program pages. So if you are, for example, interested in digital media and IT, in web design and development, you can look here for all the information that you need. So for this program, there are 2 different start dates. They will start in January and September. We have classes, programs that also start in May, and that's only for specific programs, so not for this one here. You can see here that it's on our main campus, and that the credential you'll be getting will be a 2-year diploma after you finish the program. And the delivery option would be online day or evenings or weekends. And what this really means is that for particularly right now during the pandemic, we're not able to do everything in person. So it is currently a hybrid system right now for this semester. If it does say here on the delivery option as an online day or evening, that means that it is what we call synchronous. That means if it's online day, it will be happening between 9 to 5 in Edmonton time. So if you're in a different location, that could be a little bit difficult. If it says online weekend and evening, it could mean that you could do it after hours, or it could be just any time during the day that you can just watch the videos. If it says on campus, it means that you have to actually come on campus because we have a lot of labs that you have to do. So you might need to come to Canada in order to take some of those programs. So currently we don't have our September delivery options all rolled out yet because we kind of like to look at what it's like before we make those decisions. So right now we're in March. We don't really know what September is going to be like, but there is kind of a sense of wanting to start more on campus coming in September, but we'll give you updates definitely on our website as we come along that. So you want to make sure that the program also accepts international students. And if there are advanced credits, that means if you already took a program similar, perhaps you'll be able to transfer some of the credits into this program. And so you can save a little bit of money and take a little bit less courses. I always suggest to students to click on all these things here, what's the overview, what you'll be learning, your career opportunities, certificates. If you have more questions about the program itself, you can contact the program area through the contact page here. The graduation employment rate and the starting salary, similar to what I showed you before, will be found on every single program page, which you can find as well. And then if you scroll down, this is further down the same page, you will see the types of courses you can take in the program, the tuition fees, and how to apply. So I'm going to talk about the entrance requirements very quickly. What you'll see is something that will look like this. So under entrance requirements, you might see that they require English 30-1 or -2, maybe Math 30-1, Physics, and Science. What this means is if it says 30, it is grade 12 for you. So grade 12 English, grade 12 Math. If it says 20, it is grade 11. If it says 10, it means grade 10 English and Math. So physics and science, same thing. So as long as the numbers is equivalent to the grade. All of our programs also require proof of English language proficiency. So you have to either take the academic IELTS, academic TOEFL, and we need an overall score of 6.5 with no individual band less than 5.0. For TOEFL, 80 and 20. And right now we do take the Duolingo as well. So you need at least 115 for that program. So some of them will have a competitive entrance requirement here. Some of them might not. If there is a competitive, that means you need to at least have that competitive average to be able to meet the entrance requirements. If you don't meet the competitive average, it's likely that you won't get into the program. And then lastly, we have our ESL program, which is if your English language proficiency is not at our level, we do highly recommend that you take ESL. So I always tell students, taking English and brushing up on English is really an investment in your future, because having good language skills is so important when you're working. Because if you don't have good language skills, you might get passed over for opportunity for promotions in the future, or people might not take you seriously. They might not think that you can communicate as well. So always, make sure that you do meet the language English proficiency. And also if you want to brush up more, it is always a good thing to do so. Our programs are short and condensed. So if your English language is not up to par, it can be very difficult to go through the program. So if you want to take ESL at our school, we do have 6 levels available for you. The first 3 are foundational levels, and the second 3 are more advanced and academic levels. When you finish level 6, you will meet the criteria for the NAEP programs. So you don't actually have to take IELTS or TOEFL or Duolingo. You just need to finish level 6 with a minimum grade of 60%. So each level is taught the same way as all our programs at NAEP is taught. It will be for preparation for your academic study and for your practical living and working in Canada. So it will be, again, very practical. We do a lot of even things like interview skills, resume writing, like that sort of thing as well in your ESL program. The cost for each level is at 4,631 Canadian dollars per level, so 1 semester. So depending on where you are placed, you will find out where you're placed when you apply for the program. Then you can kind of gauge how much time you will need to study ESL. So say you are currently at a level 5, you will actually need to take 4 months for level 5 and 4 months for level 6. So you might need 8 months of English studies before you can start your program. So if you are not too sure what kind of studies that you want to go into, you're kind of still browsing around, we have a really fun quiz that I highly recommend. It's kind of like a personality quiz called the Find Your Future Fit. So it's really great in that, you just kind of click through it, just say things like whether you like math or English, whether you like working indoors or outdoors, and kind of just the personality that you are. And it will give you a list of programs that you might be interested in. So then it gives you a short list, which you can then explore in more details. So I do highly recommend, if you're able to kind of give this a try. It's kind of fun. Just do that and figure out, the kind of programs that might be a good fit for you. If you want to, currently you are already working and then you want to do a career shift, this could still be a good thing that you can give it a go. Now, just very briefly about our application process for international students overseas. I'm not going to go through everything in major details. Like I said, I will be sending this presentation to you. You can take a look after. But there are, we grouped it up into 3s. There's the before you apply, things to search on, and then when you're applying, what to do, and tracking your applications. So before you apply, I always suggest to students that you check all these things because you don't want to waste your application fee. Check your programming requirements. If you don't meet the English language proficiency, if your IELTS is at a 5.0, you will not meet it. So don't waste your money in applying because you currently know that you will not be admissible. But if you do meet that, then that's great. Also want to check the program availability. So right now we have programs that are available for spring and some for the fall. If you're applying for May, there are going to be programs that are already full. Even some of them in the fall for September is also already full. So you can actually check that on our website. We have a program availability page, which you can see whether the program is still open. We also suggest that you check the study permit processing time. Currently in Turkey is really great. It's only 5 weeks, so it's quite fast. But for some countries, it takes a lot longer. So want to make sure that you know how much time it takes so you can plan backwards. So if you want to start in September and it takes 5 weeks in Turkey, and then you want to take a bit of time to prepare your documents for the study permit application, let's give yourself about 6-7 weeks in total before, then you need to get your offer letter about 6 or 7 weeks before you apply for your study permit, right? And also knowing here, actually, the NATE application process before you can get an offer letter can take up to 2 to 3 months. So you definitely want to plan ahead. It takes a lot longer than some of the other schools. And so you just want to make sure that you know and have that in mind. We want to get your official transcripts translated and notarized as certified true copies before you make the application. Then the application process will be $115, and then there will be a $75 document assessment fee. You make your application online and you create a NATE portal account, and then you have to contact all the different places to send your transcripts to us. Eventually, we need the physical transcripts, so that's why the official translation and notarized copies are important. After that, when you have made your application, you can track it, and there will be a $1,000 tuition deposit when you receive an offer. That's when you can accept your seat. So once you do that, you get your letter of acceptance to apply for your study permit. So the way it works for the $1,000 deposit deadline is that you have 1 month after we give you an offer to accept it. So say I give it to you right now, and it is March 23rd. You have until April 23rd to decide if you still want to accept a seat. So you pay that $1,000. It's important to note that this $1,000 is not refundable and not transferable. So say you are accepted into business for this May, we will not be able to transfer you into September if you do not decide to come at the last minute. However, right now, because of COVID, if your current study permit is not getting processed in time for May, we do have a deferral process for September. We don't have a deferral process for September yet. It depends on what the situation is like. So generally speaking, we won't be able to refund you that money if you don't get a study permit. However, if you are refused, so that means your study permit is denied, we will refund you the $1,000. So you don't have to worry about that, but only if you are denied. Okay, the tuition deposit will be put towards your semester tuition. So your total tuition for each semester, like I said, we have 2 semesters per year. And say if your whole year costs about $17,000, each semester will be about $9,000 or so. So for the semester, for the fall, you'll be paying $9,000, and you have to pay that in August. And then the next $9,000 will be due in December for your January start. So everything is due about a month or 2 weeks or 3 weeks before the start of that semester. You're not required to pay for your entire tuition fees for the whole year up front. That's only up to you if that's what you would like, but we don't require that. So after you pay your $1,000 deposit, you get your letter of acceptance to apply for your study permit. You don't have to pay the whole amount in order to get that. So right now we have something called the application event promotion, which I offer for all students that are, at this webinar here today and are meeting with us. So I know I said that our processing times could be 2 to 3 months, but if you use this promotion, we are able to expedite it for you. So it's a little bit faster. You do need to get your documents to me by April 23rd. So that's in 1 month. Sorry, not to me, sorry. You have to make your application on APAS and upload your documents. So make your application and then let us know through internationalnate.ca. Send me an email. Let me know that you want to expedite your application. So once you've made your application, let us know and we'll expedite it for you. And we'll get it done by May 7th. So that's something that you can take part of if you are interested in applying to NATE. So this is the last slide here. What is next for you, right? If you're interested in applying, feel free to apply through, there's a checklist that we have. It's called Apply International on NATE.ca. If you would like to work with an authorized agent, we have a list of authorized agents that work exclusively with NATE. And so these are agents that we have vetted. We made sure that they know what they're doing. They know our processes. There is currently one in Turkey called Canada Culture right here. And you can click on the link to get to their webpage if you would like to contact them. If not, you can also make the application yourself. And you can connect with us at internationalnate.ca. That's a mailbox that I check often. And if you have questions, I will be able to help answer any of those questions right there. this is the link to the Find Your Future quiz that I mentioned just now. So if you want to explore and find out more, we also have a campus tour that is available, so you can check out what it's like on campus. Okay. Lastly, if you want to connect with us through social media, we have Facebook and Instagram. Follow us there, and you can take a look there. So just thank you so much for coming, and just thank you for bearing with me through the technical glitches. I'm sorry that happened, but yeah, I'm happy to take your questions right now too. So I'm going to go through some of the questions that I see on the chat box, if that's okay. It doesn't seem like there will be a lot of them, but actually I think a lot of them are in Turkish, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to answer them.
Hi, Eden. We have questions in the questions box.
Oh, yes, I see that there. Oh, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to start from the top. So Ramazan had said, can we apply universities for a branch of field suitable for department after studying language in the city of Alberta? So you can study at a different university if you like after you study at our ESL, but they might not be applicable in the same way in that after you finish our level 6, then you can go straight there. You might still need to take a placement test or something that they require in other universities. So it does depend on other schools. So I can't really answer for all the other schools. Oh, sorry, I'm going to click on the live answer here. Can you give information about internships or job opportunities in Canada, Alberta State? So I had that slide previously that was with all the different industries and how much, I guess, demand there will be in the future. So I'm going to send a slide out to you. You can take a look, and there will be a job search probably in the next couple of years. So it is looking quite positive there. Okay. So which bachelor programs are the most advantageous to do careers in Alberta after graduation? So there are quite a lot of different industries in Alberta, right? Like you probably saw. I would say business is always a very safe place to be because there's a lot of different areas you can work in business, especially if you're in management, because you can be a manager in all industries, right? I would say the IT industry is a really great place to be in. Obviously, in IT in Alberta, we have been putting a lot of money into this industry to boost it from the government. So there is a bit more funding in this area. If you like, I don't know, even something like renewable energy, so like alternative energy could be a good place as well. So it kind of does depend on your interests too. So I would suggest that, you do your Find Your Future quiz, kind of figure out what is there, and then you can look into the different areas and the industries that are available on the Alberta website and kind of match it. So that's something that I would suggest that you can do. So can we get a conditional acceptance if we do not meet the language requirement? So that's a really good question. Right now, we don't have conditional admission if you're not in our current level 6 of ESL. So if you're currently at NATE's ESL level 6 and you do like your midterm exams, we can give you conditional. But if you are not at that place, you are placed in level 4, we cannot give you conditional admission because it takes time for you to complete the whole program there. So how many years can I study? How many years of episodes are there in Canada? So I'm just kind of assuming that we're talking about the different systems, right? So if you are doing a diploma program, for example, you can study a diploma program in 2 years. There are shorter programs for 1 year that are certificates, but I don't always suggest that because you only get a 1 year post-graduation work permit. You can also do a degree in 4 years if that's something that you're interested in as well. How to charge dormitories for Alberta State and Canada. So I'm assuming you're asking about how much the dormitories will cost. So each dormitory will be a little bit different because it depends on the amount, like the food and the meal plan that you're purchasing and such. So it will still be quite similar to the living costs that I had shown you before, but I would say it'll be slightly higher. So we're looking at usually at least about $1,400, $1,500 per month, likely for a dormitory. But you can definitely check out the websites on the residence pages and they will give it a breakdown to you. So is software division better or the engineering? So I think this, for me, really, when it comes to like comparing different programs, I actually kind of put it back to the student as to what your interest is. Because if you like software and you like IT better versus engineering, then you are going to be passionate and you're going to succeed in it. So while, you know, you look at the industry and whether it's booming or not, that's an important thing to look at. I think your passion and whether your interest in it is also just as important, because even if the industry is hiring only, I don't know, 60% of our graduates, you can be in the 60% if you are the one who is very passionate and you are, you know, striving your best for it, right? So it's important to see what you're interested in as well. But like in terms of engineering, there's also so many different kinds of engineering. There's construction engineering there, which is pretty good in Alberta as well because we're booming. There is also, you know, the oil and gas field. There's environmental. So there's a lot of different kinds of engineering. So really just kind of do your research and kind of look into those areas as well. Okay. So I would like to learn if there is a mechanical engineering master degree or diploma program and admission requirements. Okay, so we do have a mechanical engineering technology program at NATE. It's a 2-year diploma. I can't remember all the admission requirements right off the bat, but usually it will be English 30, so grade 12 English, grade 12 math, likely grade 12 physics, and that might be some other courses, maybe a chemistry or some other sciences. So definitely the 3 for sure. There will likely be a competitive average as well. So I would say it's best to check out on our website. You can just Google Mechanical Engineering Technology NATE and you'll find the program page and it will be right there. Okay. Okay. So how is living expenses in Alberta if we compare to other states? So I think I briefly mentioned that just now, but Alberta is cheaper than most of the other areas that you'd be living in. In terms of even just rent, you're talking about 40% less than Toronto and Vancouver. But if you're comparing with like a smaller city that is probably like more in the north side of Canada, we might be quite comparable. So I would say Alberta is cheaper than most of the places that you're living at. Okay. Can we take a work permit in Canada while we study? So the way work permit works is if you're an international student, you don't need a work permit to work. You will have a condition on your study permit that says that you can work. So the conditions will be that you have to work about 20 hours a week during school, and then off school, you can work unlimited hours. And then after you study, like after you graduate, then you can apply for what we call the post-graduation work permit. Okay, do we have sports scholarship? So yes, we have scholarships. For sports, you have to be what we call recruited into a sports team before we can give you those kind of scholarships. So we'll have to connect you to athletics, which is the athletics team, and they'll be able to chat with you more about that. Depends on the program or the sports that you're interested in. Okay, I think I have answered most questions here. Yeah, so like I mentioned, I will be happy to send you guys the presentation slides and you can feel free to email me after that as well if you have more questions. I do have like appointment bookings. If you're interested in talking to me personally, we can have a 30-minute chat about your situation. I'm happy to chat with you like that as well. Okay, so I will include all that information in my follow-up email to you. But just thank you again so much for being here today. Thank you for spending your time and being patient. I hope this was helpful for you. So, yeah.
Yes. Eden, thank you very much for your answers. Also, could you please share an email address on the chat box so the participants can directly contact you?
Yes. Okay, I have put that there at the bottom.
Yes, thank you very much for your great presentation. I think it was a really informative webinar for the attendees. Also, I would like to thank the participants in Turkish as well. Katıldığınız için teşekkür ederiz arkadaşlar. Northern Alberta Institute of Technology ile ilgili diğer sorularınız için Eden'ın paylaşmış olduğu mail adresinden iletişime geçebilirsiniz. Yarınki webinarlarımızda görüşmek üzere. Thank you very much again, Eden. It was a pleasure to have you in IEFT Talks.
Yeah, thank you all so much too. Hope you have a great evening.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.